In news delivered by the Prime Minister Rama via Facebook, NATO will build the first airbase for the Western Balkans in Albania, with the North Atlantic Alliance partnering with the government of Albania for the €50 million investment. The marina border point in Kuçova is facing an influx of holidaymakers coming from Kosovo, with the data showing that in just the last 24 hours, 30,000 Kosovar citizens have entered Albania. The rise in tourist numbers combined with migrants returning to Albania brings an influx of euro currency to the country in August, and as such has increased the value of the Lekë in comparison, with €1 now buying 125 Lekë. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Saturday the 4th of August 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. Prime Minister Rama today announced via Facebook that NATO has selected Albania as the location for the first airbase in the Western Balkans. According to the Prime Minister, the North Atlantic Council has approved the decision. In partnership with the government of the Republic of Albania, NATO will invest more than €50 million just in the first phase of the modernisation of the Kuçova airbase. Through this project, which is expected to begin within this year, Kuçova will serve as a support base for NATO, providing air transport, logistical support, support with air policing, as well as training and coaching to the alliance, wrote Rama on Facebook. The Prime Minister writes that Kuçova will, at the same time, serve as the national base for the Albanian Air Force. This strategic NATO investment in Albania will bring a new standard to our armed forces. Undoubtedly, an investment of this size creates new opportunities for the economic and social development of the whole region, where we plan to build this new airbase equipped with the latest technology, wrote Rama. The head of the Albanian government also announces that direct discussions are taking place with our strategic partner, the United States, for further modernisation of the Albanian Air Force. These decisions, according to Rama, will shortly go for approval by the American Congress. As a result of the dismissals arising from the vetting process, the creation of the new justice institutions is expected to be delayed several months more. The need to set up the Council of Appointments in Justice, the High Judicial Council and the High Prosecutorial Council was the reason why the Independent Qualification Commission was working so swiftly, with up to 6 hearings per day during July. The 57 candidates for the new justice bodies were on the priority list to be subjected to vetting in order to start working as soon as possible. Currently, 51 of the 57 priority list names have gone through the vetting process, but 21 of them have been dismissed by the IQC, leaving vacancies for the seats for which they were elected. The High Judicial Council is the only body that can deliver a solution to the Supreme Court's deadlock, which has only 4 members left. The first signal of further delays was provided by the Supreme Court, which on the 31st of July 2018 announced the initiation of the procedure for the new HJC candidacies by the District Courts of Appeal. This was as a result of the person who had previously been selected for the position, Besim Trezhneva, being dismissed with a final decision as the result of failing the vetting process. The HJC is expected to be formed after the selection of 2 names from the 5 candidacies that have passed the vetting from the first instant courts within Tirana. Meanwhile, thanks to Medibitsi having passed the vetting process successfully, the seat of the member that belongs to the Supreme Court has been filled, and there is no need to vote after another candidate, Artan Zaneli, was dismissed by the IQC. The High Council of the Prosecutor's Office will also have delays. Of the 5 prosecutors who have been vetted, only 3 of them have been considered appropriate for the continuation of duty. The 2 remaining positions are left vacant following the IQC's decision to dismiss HCP candidates Besa Nikasani from Shkodra's Appeals Court and Luan Kalotsi from Tirana's Appeals Court. Arben Dolapai from Shkodra's appeal is also awaiting the decision of the IQC, but even if reconfirmed in office, an unfulfilled place still remains. The first few days of August have brought an influx of Kosovar citizens coming to Albania to spend their holidays. According to data, about 30,000 Kosovar citizens entered Albania during the last 24 hours via the marina border point, travelling in approximately 5,300 vehicles. To face the high influx, Merita's border point crossing has opened a total of 10 counters, 7 for those incoming and 3 outgoing. According to sources, at the peak of the movement, 2 additional counters were opened, bringing the number of open immigration counters to 12. Most of the citizens who have entered Albanian territory have the Albanian coast as their destination to spend their holidays, but there are also those who are simply using the national highway in transit. Even at the exit, the number of citizens is high, especially during the evening hours. A very large part of Kosovar vacationers choose to spend a day holidaying in Albania, and the return of migrants to Kosovo has also influenced the increase in the number of passengers travelling via morina. In the past 24 hours, a total of 17,000 citizens in 4,000 vehicles have left Albania and entered Kosovo, mostly Kosovar emigrants who go on holiday in their homeland. The Democratic Party has accused the Rama government of not paying attention to education, with the number of school leavers over the past 4 years having reached 133,000. DP MP Albana Vokshi says that this is a situation with an alarm bell being raised by the youth. According to Vokshi, abandoning education is generally a consequence of poverty. 133,000 teenagers have dropped out of school in just 4 years. This is the youth ringing the alarm bell. As long as Rama is Prime Minister, there will be no jobs for them and no professionals available to do it, said Albana Vokshi. The opposition promises to change the situation after coming into power by providing financial support for students and teachers. The Democratic Party will provide free textbooks for all children attending public education without exception. It will provide support for families and students in need. It will financially support talented and gifted students. The Democratic Party will support teachers and professors by providing good and decent working conditions. Once we have the power to rule, we will abolish the university education law, said Albana Vokshi. According to Albana Vokshi, official data shows that professional education has also suffered a significant drop with enrolments, with 2,000 students less when compared with 2013. The peak of the tourist season has again weakened the European currency against the Albanian one. August is known as the month with the highest inflow of migrants returning to vacation homes, but also the highest number of foreign tourists who bring a lot of euro and further reduce its value compared to the Lekë. According to the official exchange rate, €1 is being exchanged for 125.5 Lekë, reaching the lowest value in the first days of August. From January to July, the European currency lost about 10 points, falling from 134 to 125 Lekë. Expectations are to have a European currency depreciation trend against the Lekë this month. Experts clarify that this situation is a result of inadequate intervention by the Bank of Albania in buying euro. Exporters are the ones most affected by the weakening of the euro. From the official data in the budget, 3.6 billion Lekë is missing only as a result of the exchange rate. Euro stabilisation against the Lekë is not expected until the autumn. Officials explain the depreciation of the euro at this level with the rising investment and remittance revenues. On the other hand, it is understood that the market may also be saturated with euros derived from informal means. A low euro is positive for those citizens who have loans in euro, as the equivalent required payment is reduced. Head of the central bank, Gent Seiko, stated that the Bank of Albania will continue to buy euro in the coming months. 5,000 citizens have had their properties legalised in Albania in the period June to July only. The Agency for Legalisation, Urbanisation and Integration of Informal Areas and Buildings, or Aluizni, is the department tasked with the responsibility on this issue. Aluizni Tirana Rural Director, Gentian Mechai, states that it is imperative that companies reading their names in the newspapers appear at Aluizni offices to continue the process of legalisation. If citizens do not appear after the publication of their names, an additional burden is created on the institution. As soon as the citizen sees the name on the lists we show or the ones we publish in the newspapers, they must come to our office to receive the legalisation permit. Subsequently, the procedure for registration is then followed by our office. After all relevant documentation is sent to the offices and within 30 days, they will be provided with the certificate of ownership, said Gentian Mechai. Since we are at the peak of the tourist season, many migrants are returning to Albania. Hence, in order to offer more efficient services, we have extended the operating hours, increased the number of counters and shortened the procedures. Not only do we continue to be in the office during the summer, but also with prolonged hours just for this reason. If the official timetable is between 8 and 4:30, we stay until 6 or 6:30 in the evening. And Saturday is a working day, all to assist migrants living outside the borders of Albania. Simply, we offer an accelerated procedure for the fact that they are not here. We are keeping open communication lines between all interested parties to ensure the certificates of ownership can be received, said Gentian Mechai. In Aloisni's offices, citizens say they are finally finding solutions after 20 years of bureaucracies. In September, Aloisni will launch another campaign for the legalisation of housing built before 1991. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and have a lovely weekend.